So if you guys have gotten a preset from me or anybody else, but you don't quite know how to use or make a preset fit your vocal, then this video is for you. So one of the most commonly asked questions with presets is, how do I use a preset and how do I make them sound good for my vocal? Well, before we dive into all that, there's a few factors that determine how your vocal is going to sound. First one's going to be your microphone and your room acoustics. So basically, to give you the short version of that, the better acoustics your room has, the better your vocal will probably sound. The second thing is going to be your performance. If you don't have a good performance, you're not going to get a good result. So whether you're singing or you're rapping or whatever you're doing, make sure you give a good performance. 3 is going to be the plugins and how you use them to affect your vocal, right? So after all that, I'm going to hop into the DAWS and show you guys how I use the presets and how you guys can also use the presets for your benefit. I'm going to be showing you the process with 3 different DAWs, and then I'm also going to be showing you an alternative for anybody who doesn't have those DAWs, as long as you have Waves plugins. Also, everything I use in this video will be linked on my website, and if you guys are looking for templates, presets, or just mixing and mastering, it is available on my website, dyslexic.com. And yeah, let's get started. Right, so for the first DAW, I'm going to be using FL Studio. This is my preferred DAW of choice, but if you guys use Logic or Pro Tools, you can go ahead and skip ahead to the timestamps that I'll have linked below or on the screen. But for the FL Studio portion, I'm going to be using one of my most popular presets, which is the Future Mixtape Pluto preset. I have this preset available for most DAWs, I believe stock and Waves version. And I already have a future type beat that I'm going to be using, so I can go ahead and drag it into FL Studio. And if you guys are wondering how I already have it all labeled, I'm using my industry recording template just so it helps keep my session organized. But to get back into the topic of things, now that I've dragged in my beat, first things first is whenever you get an MP3 from YouTube, there's always going to be a little silence in the beginning right here. So always double click and turn up this trim knob so it gets rid of that silence. Or what you can do is hit S and then drag it until there's no more silence, like so. And also don't forget to get the BPM. I believe the BPM for this was 140, and now to confirm, you could use the metronome. Perfect. Now I like to also drag it down a couple decibels just so we have some headroom to work with. So I'll drag it down like 4 decibels. Right, so when it comes to loading in a preset, there's a couple ways you can go about it. The first way is you could right click it, go to File, and then click Open Mixer Track State, and then go to where you have your preset downloaded. So Future, Mixtape Pluto preset, FL Studio, Waves. Now you can click the main or ad-libs or whatever you're trying to load in. So I'm going to click in the main, then it's going to load up my main vocals, just like that. But my preferred way is to simply just drag and drop it. So I go to where I have it downloaded, and then simply you could select it all, drag it on, and it'll load all of them. Or you could drag it on one by one. So main onto the main vocals, and then ad-libs onto the ad-libs, and then reverb onto the reverb, delay onto the delay, and then now it's all loaded up. So let me go ahead and get rid of these actually. Right, so now that we have our preset loaded up, there's still 2 things we need to do before we start recording. First one is to turn down our buffer length so we can actually record with these on. And then the second thing before we start recording is we need to get the key of the beat, because without the key of the beat, the autotune is going to sound like trash. So you can either play the beat and click this listen, or you can do my favorite method, which is just to use the file. So I'll go and select where I have the file downloaded, and then I'm going to open it. And then it's going to analyze it, and then now it'll tell me the key, so I can just send it to my AutoTune, and it'll be in my AutoTune. If you guys don't have AutoKey, there are tons of free alternatives like TuneBat, Virtual DJ, and a couple others, but I will say AutoKey is the most accurate for me personally. That's pretty much it for FL Studio. Now we can basically just go ahead and start recording. So click your insert, go to the top right, click where you have your mic input. So mine's input 1, and now I can hear myself. Let me turn off this. So now we are ready to record, but I want some reverb and some delay. So I'm going to go down here, click this, and bring it up. All right, and then delay. Yeah. All right. I want to show you guys how you can make this preset fit more of your vocal if you're having problems making it sound good for your voice. So first things first is going to be the auto tune. I have my retune speed set at 5, which is pretty fast. And if you guys want less of that auto tune feel, you can turn it up a little bit more. You can add a bit more humanize. Also mess around with the input type because my voice is like a low male, so my voice is going to go better with the low male. But if you guys have a higher pitch voice, maybe go with alto or soprano. And then next is going to be the EQ. So with this EQ, I basically just did an EQ sweep and then I boosted a bit of the highs. If you guys don't know how to EQ sweep, I'll link a video in the description of how I go about EQ sweeping my vocals. Mess around with the compression if you guys need less or more compression. And then lastly, I'm using a vocal bender, which is what gives me those deep vocals. And for my voice, I set it to around 170 cents, something around there. But for your guys' vocal, you may need to tweak this a little bit and maybe use less or maybe use more. But for my vocal, I found that around 170 sounds pretty good for my voice. And then lastly, I would say play around with the reverb and delay because not every song needs a lot of delay or a lot of reverb. But let's go ahead and see what we can record. All right, so I basically just recorded a whole song and I found out that my OBS was not recording. So I'm gonna basically do this whole thing again. And yeah, let's get started. Go ahead and delete all this.
And if you guys don't know how to record in FL Studio, go up to this red knob and then copy these settings. And then basically to start recording, just click R. Like what? I put that bitch in the bag of the group, she's not my main. Ayy, that bitch in the bag of the coupe in the bag of the range. She can be top of the Tesla, so insane. Yeah, I'm so ingrained. My bitch so bad, my bitch go soaking rain. His bitch so bad, his bitch go plain and Jane. I'm hitting that bitch in the back of the cane. Like what? That little bitch, she slut. Doubling up my cup. They can't catch me in that one body, that shit too tough. Like, bitch, I do it good, I'm in a rush. Like, and then if I like that, I can just keep any of that. So I'll keep this little beginning, and then we'll go from there. But so far, it's what it sounded like. Yeah, like what? I put that bitch in the bag of the group, she's not my main. I hate that bitch in the bag of the coupe in the bag of the range. She can be top of the Tesla, so insane. I'm so ingrained. My bitch so bad, my bitch go so big rain. His bitch so bad, his bitch go plain and Jane. Alright, I'm liking that so far. Let's go ahead and move on to our ad-lib. And then let's do ad-libs. Yeah, like what? I put that bitch in the bag of the group, she's not my main. I hate that bitch in the bag of the coupe in the bag of the range. She can be top. Like what? I need to do it better. Yeah, like what? I put that bitch in the bag of the group, she's not my main. I hate that bitch in the bag of the coupe in the bag of the range. She can be top of the Tesla, so insane. I'm so ingrained. My bitch so bad, my bitch go so big rain. His bitch so bad, his bitch go plain and Jane. Alright, let me keep some of that.
All right, so I was just kind of messing around, but basically that is how I would go about loading in a preset and using the preset to fit with my voice and my vocal. Again, if you guys want to use anything in this video, it'll be in the description, and then we'll move on to the next DAW, which will be Logic. All right, so now that we're in Logic, I'm going to be showing you how to load in a preset for Logic. For every Logic preset, I do include a text file on how to load in the preset, but you could also watch this video. So basically in Mac, go to the magnifying glass and then search for music apps. It'll say audio music apps, and then go to channel strip settings and go to track. And then once you have that open, go back to where you downloaded the preset, copy all of those files, and then paste them into the track folder like so. And then you can say replace, place, and then now go back to Logic and go to user channel strip settings, and then you'll see the preset in there. So basically I'm gonna load in my feature mixtape Pluto main, then I'll add another track for the ad-libs. And now we can drag on our beat. So I downloaded this beat. up here. And we also need to get rid of that silence, so I'll get rid of that. Then I'll drag it back. Now. All right, cool. So next, I'm going to take it down a little bit, and then I'm going to get the key. So I'm going to use the auto key. And then I can drag the file. It's telling me the key is D major, so I can send it to my auto-tune. And also check the description of the YouTube beats, because usually they'll have the key in BPM. So this one says D minor 160 BPM, so that's correct. And I can go back to Logic now. And then basically we can arm it and we can record something. So to arm the track, I'm gonna go back to the Future main, click that, go to input, click input 1, and then I can click, I believe this.
I need delay and reverb, so add the buzz. And then I'm gonna go to mixtape Pluto. Yeah. Mama was at home, I was all alone. I was taking trips, I was taking stone. I know, bitch, I do not know. Right, so it's already sounding pretty good, but you can modify a few things. For example, auto-tune, maybe I wanted less auto-tune, or I wanted more, so I can drag it down. And then NS1, this is a noise suppressor, so if I take this off, you'll hear a bunch of background noise.
As far as EQ, I'm doing an EQ sweep just to take down the bad frequencies. And if you guys don't know how to EQ sweep, I have a video that I'll link on the screen or in the description. On the compressor, this is basically just helping it sit within the mix a bit better. I would adjust the threshold, the release, and maybe the gain if you need to. SL is another EQ. Fresh airs adds a bit of saturation. De-esser just tames those harsh E's and S's. C4 is a multi-band compressor. And then I have a studio rack or studio verse where I have 3 more plugins. And the only plugin that I really mess with is the vocal bender. This is what gives me that deep voice. And for everybody's vocal, it's going to be a little bit different. So I would definitely maybe take this up or take this down depending on your vocal.
I'm going to actually use a different beat. So I'll try this beat. I kind of want more of the bender. All my hoes, they raking. All my bows, they baking. All my hoes. And let's record. Yeah. All my bros, they stanking. Why she look so good, like why you ask me? All my bros, they stanking. All my bros, they packing.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah. All my bros, they stanking. Why she look so good, like why you ask me? All my bros, they stacking. All my bros, they packing. All my bros, they asking.
Alright, so the next DAW is Pro Tools. And for Pro Tools, first things first is we need to go to the search icon on the microscope and type in Pro Tools. Scroll down until you see Pro Tools folder, and then inside of that folder it should be a bunch of other folders. And next, click Track Presets, click Avid, and now you can go to where you downloaded the preset, select all this and drag it into there. Or what you could do is create a new folder inside of there, like I have, called presets, and then just drag the Mixtape Pluto preset into there. And now once you go back to Pro Tools, right click any track and then go to recall track preset and then go to where you have it. So mine's in presets, and then you'll see Mixtape Pluto main, ad-libs, reverb delay, and I'm going to click main, and then it's going to load up the presets, and then I can rename that to main. Right, so next basically you just select your interface, and then you would select the input that you have it routed through, and you would start recording. Right, so this last portion is going to be for anybody who doesn't have any of those DAWs and would like to use a preset. I usually have a version that will work for you as long as you have Waves. So in order for that to work, you need to have Waves plugins, and you need to have a plugin called Studio Verse or Studio Rack. This is what it looks like. It's free for everybody, I believe. But basically, once you load it up, Studio Verse in your DAW, go up here, click this, click load, and then go to where you downloaded the preset. So I have mine in my presets folder. Basically, you'll see some files with the ending called XPS. And basically, I have my Modern Cardi main, and I'm going to click that and click open. It's going to open all the plugins. And then go ahead and do that same thing again. So I'm gonna go to Studioverse and then click that again, click load. And then now I'm gonna load in the FX Sense. This is the reverb and delay. So I'm gonna load that in. And now we're good to go. All you need to do is arm the track in your DAW. So FL Studio, go to input, and then it's good. Basically you're good to record now. If you wanna adjust the reverb, then adjust the wet and dry. Just like that. And if you want more delay, adjust the wet and dry. Just like that. And now you're good to record. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any other questions and concerns, drop them in the comments or DM me. I'll be glad to answer those. And until next video, that's it.